Pass across. And now Muskegon looking for a breakout here. Here's Zach Grover. Grover now, fake the slap shot. They thought better of it. A good back pass, looking for a backdoor. Gilliam says no with the stick. And Muskegon had it for a moment. Helgamo able to loft this one back to center ice. Start again with Jake Nana. Again, first look for one of the new recipients here for the Muskegon Voyagers. Step up there as the Sharks able to force a steal is Josh Hill. And this will go back across for Brendan Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer helped take a D-to-D. A couple Muskegon Voyagers on the prowl, but this one at center ice. Find the entry now. And off the leave. And spin and turn for a moment was Max Campbell. Rush the other way, the wrist shot hits the glass. And toward the left side red line, that's where the puck is. And on the back skate, able to get the steal there for a moment is Muskegon. Into the left side dot. That's where all the action is truncated at the moment. Big contact, takes one of the Voyagers down. That was a good hit for Pfeiffer. And the Sharks able to send this one down the ice. Precision will win the hybrid ice race at 11:29 as we're almost 10 minutes through this first. Again, we will have a lot of local scoreboard to hit tonight. Some good news already. We will see if we get more. I believe Michigan State basketball in action. The Red Wings have already played. The Pistons will play later tonight. They are first in the Eastern Conference. That's what the Sharks are trying to be in the MHL South after today. Another big hit into the boards as Precision pops back up. He flipped back here for Pfeiffer. Long outstretched pass. And I believe that was still onside. That's why Josh Hill, they would try to lurk in the corner, gets the steal for the moment. He's by his lonesome. See what he can find. Here's a good sauce feed. Shot up high. That one's canceled off by Lay as he goes in the right side corner. Pick up now on the backhand. Spin and turn. Donaldson off the lead. Good retrieval here. Shark's been very sharp, and so was Lay there on that glove save, trying to have to spin the wrong way, almost looking like a Cujo had there, but he found the puck. 10:53 in the first. Brendan Sherlock going to go ahead and take this draw. Brendan now off the tie-up. This will go back, and Sharks will have to backpedal a little bit here. This will be a fine and entry into the zone. Now we'll see if Gillian comes out to chase it. And he will go ahead and at least clear the blue line side. So excellent work there. Zach Grover got to go ahead and peel back. As this will be recollected here for Drake. Flipped in. Gillian will stop it with the stick. Still busy and behind his office right now. About 10:25 left. And Gilliam look for a breakout pass. We'll see if he iced it against himself. Yes, he did. Sharks don't like it. The Warrior will take it the other side of the ice. So goals here early. We have Nick Redmond with Andrew Polsha and Jarrett Pfeiffer. Josh Hill was denied at a breakaway at 16:03. That is your reset so far in this period. John Hunter with you on the call alongside Go Live Sportscast. Again, they will be with us the whole way through in this game, and then you have the Michigan Shadow and Detroit Warhawks, but a 7:30 puck drop time. Good stick away there for Kieran Carlisle for a moment, but here is Healy on his backhand, and a good glove save there for Gilliam toward the right post. One for the thumb is the moniker for the Muskegon Voyagers, and if they're going to get something going, they got a lot of work to do in this regular season game. Polsha, that was not kept in. I was wondering if the Zebras were going to blow it dead, and now we got something going on in the corner here. Nolan Baldrico was getting dusted up there by some Voyagers, I think, that took exception. It wasn't much of a gang tackle there as far as the punches for Baldrica, but the dust up settled us down quickly right at the halfway marker of the opening frame. See if anything comes out of this. It looks like there might be. We already got the Zebras talking to the score operators, and Baldrica might be the one going in the box, and unfortunately for him, that's one of the best Sharks goal scorers of the year. Not always lighting it up across consistent hat tricks, although he got one last game. But my point is, every single game he is probably going to give you at least one or two. Always finds his way on the score sheet. So offsetting, that is pretty good there for Waterford. They're going to take it, and the refs will just kind of calm down the kerfuffle here as quickly as they can, but try to make it as fair as they can. And off the tie-up, it's an opportunity now for Dylan Smith. Dylan work his way forehand, beat 3 Sharks to get that opportunity as it was close, 5-hole by Gilliam. So Dylan Smith on keeping an eye on number 8 early, again one of the new additions for Muskegon this year. You got Rasuke Kuramachi, number 41 on defense. Alex Cass, number 51. Again, most of the Voyagers will look the same, just not in this game. As it'll be Cole Halgamo now, stay on side. He gets this pass right in between his legs off the lip. That goes just off the stick shaft of Devin Lay. Again, offsetting for $130 for both sides until we return to full strength. This will be flipped back from Olkowski to Halgamo. Good center ice feed. As this will be settled back down for Jared Pfeiffer. Play at the net. That one just near the back post and just brushed aside by Lay. He has had to have a battering ram of chances, and a lid from Cole Halgamo is pried loose. That's automatically going to blow play dead. And at least for Cole, he can go ahead and put that back on. Maybe not have to take a change, but tell the Groth squad they're going to do it anyway. Be an ozone draw here. Kieran Carwile going to get set to take it. Kieran off the drop, wins it. That's a good quick wrister from Brennan Sherwalk as it's brushed in the corner. Sharks get possession on the backhand now. Here's a lead from Carlisle. Another wrister at the net that was fought off by Leg. Isaac Gibbs was the one that let it fly. Shot for number 9 right at about 9 minutes. Sharks have a 3-0 lead. Another face-off toward the right side dot. Sharks win it off the tie-up. Good avoidance of a hit there. And off the drop pass. Sherwalk, man, he just missed that right side post. He was open. This is not kept in, but that was one heck of a play there just to keep it alive, because if they didn't, Sharks maybe would have had a break going the other way against them. Still trying to get the clarification of number 29 back in on the bench from what I normally would have. Do not have that on the roster sheet today. As this is flipped in toward the right side boards. Picked up now for Polsha. Bowman near the left side post. Stick lift goes right to Bowman. And that backhand gets stick to side. Sharks got to be careful now of a potential odd man. Polsha back as this is picked off. Nicely here for the Sharks. The backhand stick chop for a moment. Here's a wrister. That one will go wide. Almost a turnover there that the Sharks could have had to pay for. As this will be pushing across the red line side. Picked up now for the Sharks. There's a brush in off the backhand. It is just kept in. Donaldson set that one up one-timer. That one saved Polsha. Now makes some work on his backhand from behind the net. That's where the captain, seeing Spencer Bowman, is. Going to need a little bit of help there. Excellent work for the Sharks. Trying to battle another wrister. Stopped by Lay. He is really keeping his team in the hockey game right now. I know it's a 3-0 lead for Waterford, but he's had to make about the last 8 or 9 stops. Not being hyperbolic here. It's been in Muskegon's end a lot. They've got to find a way to push. I know they're a little bit short-handed as far as what they got on the ice today, as we alluded in the open. See what we get here is Zach Grover going to get set to take the draw from Muskegon. Again, Terry Ficcarelli knows what's at stake here. I'm sure he's talked about it many times with the one for thumb in the first place potentially in MIHL South. Sharks look hungry today, as they usually are. Pick up now on the waft for Donaldson. It's loose in the slot. And a good back skate here as Pfeiffer tried to cover the back door. This is picked up now off the cross pass, and that is where Donaldson is off the steal. Foot back down. Should be an icing against the Sharks, and indeed it is at 7:25. I will say this, regardless of what happens with Muskegon today, you could really tell when number 72, Riley Pitcher, is not on the ice. He's the best offensive defenseman that we have in the MIHL. We've seen a lot of good ones here for the Waterford Sharks. Again, Theo Goody, Joe Gibbs from last year, no exception. Donaldson now tried to make his play off the rush. He'd be one of those ones I'd circle as well. Sharks got a ton of them, but it is a guy that's definitely missed. Able to kind of manufacture offense to push him for these forwards. And the Sharks really got to take advantage of that. Now Nick Redmond, who will open the scoring. Try to find this toward the left side red line. Bunch of Sharks converge on the vulcanized rubber, and that is going to be a turnover. A little bit of an over pursuit there for Hill, but end up working out. Now on the back skate, he gets back on side. There'll be a pump right at the net here for the Sharks, and off the spin and turn that was Dylan Smith really trying to get a steal as this goes D to D. That's where Goody is, looking for the tip out in front. This one is loose, and Muskegon finally finds a way to get some puck possession. This will be lifted ahead. Muskegon does have numbers with the back door. If that pass didn't bounce off the stick of Gilliam, it goes up and on a play. Nick Fuller was waiting for a rebound, but it didn't come to him. Chris Hawkins is on the ice on the right wing side. If you remember, if you're a Muskegon fan, he scored that game winner in Game 5 of overtime against the Sharks when they lost last year at Lakeshore Sports Center in the finals. Long stretch from 100 as this one gets sent in safely across the red line. Sharks try to hunt the puck with Jared Pfeiffer. Get the steal. That one hits the glass. Try to turn around and keep it in for Chris Martin. Up into the netting at 5:56. That's about the same timeline as we sit Eastern here. 5:30 puck drop. Sharks feeling good very early. I think it's important if you're Muskegon to keep this scoreline right where it is. It cannot get any worse. If you find a way to get one back in this opening frame, all of a sudden you feel much different about the first period. No, you don't like playing from behind, but it is a reality when you're playing with teams that have this type of quality on both ends. Cherwalk will get set for the O-zone draw. This will be off the tie up to the left side red line. Spencer Bowman has this against the wall. This goes hard in off the end glass. Picked up now for the Sharks. Will be a soft pickup in the corner here. And off the spin and turn for Jared Pfeiffer. One of the Voyagers is down and holding a hand. We'll get a number on there for you. That was Luke McKinch. And I'm seeing him slowly skate to the bench now as some of the Voyagers fans not too happy with it, looking right at the referee as we are still under play. Picked up by Pfeiffer now. Pfeiffer can walk in. Wrister. And that one is a good save for Lay. And Muskegon Voyagers bench and Zach Dance look to be a little bit animated. I don't blame them. There was some contact right in front near the players' benches, but the Zebras keep the whistles in the pockets. Gets set to take the draw here, Skolin. This will be won by Muskegon. Healy will slam this one around the end boards. Again, the only thing I would say for Gilliam is you don't want to make a mistake behind the net, and he did. Right at 5 minutes. You make that mistake there, you give Muskegon a little bit life. I was just going to say that, and it goes right in the back of the net. That is a little self-inflicted for Waterford, but you know what? Muskegon hunted the puck. They needed it. And at 5 minutes, we get a 3-1 game. So they don't get the penalty call that they wanted for the Voyagers, but they get a goal, and that's what matters most here for them. See what we get here now in this final 5, but that is a little bit of a gut punch for Waterford. They played very well in this first. You just didn't want to get hand grenaded back there behind the net. Now you really got to make sure if you're Waterford, again, Muskegon got their checkmark box either keep this score line right where it is or maybe get one, but you can't concede another one. You want to at least keep a 2-goal lead into the dressing room. So Healy going to get the goal as it's assisted by Joe DeFay and John Cispeniak. Goody fans on a pass. And here we go now. Dylan Smith trying to find the entry into the right side corner. This will be stolen by Zach Mulkowski. Got about 4 minutes left to go in this opening frame. It is Healy who's just scored one for Muskegon. Mulkowski gets a little tied up and a little bit of a push on the other end. Got to be careful for any retaliations as well, as this is a good intercept. Kieran Carlisle gives it right to Cole. Cole Hogemo on his backhand. Cole finds the entry off the 1-on-3. Drop pass Polsha. He gets stick lifted. Kieran Carlisle tried to toe drag a little bit, and now Muskegon's got some numbers. Jake Nana leading off the rush, off the drop pass, and this one barely gets saved by Gilliam as he was in the butterfly with the left pad. It's still busy. Precision, and off the spin, he throws it deep. Donaldson as the Sharks looking for a breakout, bounces off the stick, and Nolan Baldrika. Baldrika tries to get a steal. Sharks have it now. Centering feed Polsha. This one gets blocked off the stick. He lifted for a moment. Picked up now for the Sharks. A good sauce pass. I thought they were going to go for a backdoor shot. It was near the right side. Good contact there against the Sharks. No call, but that's going to get the Muskegon fans that are here up out of their seats. A back pass here, not held. All right, we think the ref might have lost sight of the puck. 2:59, Sharks had possession. That's a little bit of a lucky break for Muskegon. Right at the 6 Eastern mark. Man, this has gotten very interesting. I don't want to say the breath has tightened because, again, 2 more stanzas left to go at least. But got to keep this at 3-1 if you're Waterford. Kieran Carlisle off the tie-up. Chance Baldrika, that one a rough pad save. So Devin Lay has been on his P's and Q's of late. He's shutting the door after those first 3 goals. As this will bounce away from one of the Zebras, doing the same reaction I would have had if there was no glass. Picked up now off the outstretch, and this is stolen. Muskegon gets stick lifted for a moment, but right into the traffic. That is where Jared Siegel is. Siegel will send it in safely across the right side red line. Looking for Nolan Baldrika as players come together at the right side corner. Good skate. And alongside for Chris Hawkins. Always dangerous, but a good stick lift there for the Sharks. Force the steal. Racing across the right wing side. Now working on the forehand. Here's the back pass. And Hill, that's a great save there for Lay because that was right in the middle of the slot. 2:05. I'm not going to say this as I don't mean it, Mr. Jack Hudak, but for Devin Lay, he's saying, Jack, who on this side, I can be a number 1 netminder as well, and I mean that with the utmost respect because he has been such a stalwart and alongside the MIHL, one time with the Warhawks, a long time with Muskegon, has catered them in the back of the net to many championships, but Devin Lay proven he can be a number 1 with Scheidemann as the backup with precision. Coughs it right up to the Sharks. Here's the clapper off the bar. And an opportunity now toward the right side dot. The Sharks can't find it. Man, oh man. Picked up off the back pass. And be lifted there for a moment. Just away from Nick Redmond. And Healy, who's got the latest goal for Muskegon, loses the puck. Now on the backhand, it's Hill. Little inside out, gets it taken away from him. Rolling puck and a giant hit into the corner there against Redmond, who wants a call, but he's going to keep his eyes alert right now as play is still underway. He is a little bit slow as he works his way now, hopefully to try to get this steal. He has it off a centering feed. It's loose in front of the crease. And Redmond, you know what? He gave him full marks there, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you caught that on the Goal Live cameras. He gets crunched for the left side blue line. He's still aware of his surroundings. He sets up his teammate for Theo Goody for the 1T, and Devin Lay makes a fantastic save toward the left side post. What a game we've had. Now for Donaldson up through the traffic. Had to duck a little bit with Spencer Bowman. Didn't want that to hit him in the dome as we're underneath the final minute of the first. Fantastic contest that we got on our hands here. Little step up here for Jared Pfeiffer and a potential break. Rister save. Gilliam had to have it. That was stopped in alongside Jake Nana off the rush. And the Sharks might have some numbers if they press. Brennan Sherlock, fans, 30 seconds left to go on the opening frame. Will be a back pass, bounces away for Dylan Smith. Sharks able to keep it onside. Bowman almost gets checked into the bench halfway as this one gets flipped back down the ice. Hunt for the puck, got to be careful not to trip. As this flips up into the air, Sharks try to bat it out. They'll do so safely across the blue line. Gets in possession, a little rough ride, Polosha, an attempted run over. And the Sharks, everybody can call off dogs in the first. Very entertaining opening 20. Do not go anywhere. It is a 3-1 lead for the Waterford Sharks. There is plenty left to decide. Yes, with 2 more periods, but with this game that we've seen, that was a giant goal that was scored for Will Healy that made it 3-1. Sharks still a great opener. We'll see if we get in the next set of 40. Come right back. We'll call in the second. what the commissioners and everyone else will decide as far as travel, but with divisions for the first time, as mentioned, between Kalkaska, Sheboygan, some of those places up north like St. Ignace, it doesn't make sense for all of these teams to take the 4-hour bus ride all the way across the first side of the bracket. You'd go south to south, north to north, and then you'd go east-west like you would in the NHL as far as the finals. I'm assuming that's what they would do from a best of 3 to best of 5, and that wouldn't change. But once we get more information on that and it gets to sync, maybe at the end of the year, I can let you know plain as day. And then also, again, into the next part of the intermission, I'll give you an update as far as what's next on the broadcast portion of it, because we do have the Thanksgiving break upcoming, and then the 5-game homestand will resume. So we're going to get set here for the second period puck drop. The Sharks have a 3-1 lead. We'll see if they can add to it or at least keep it right where it is. That's the most important part right now. We will change ends as Precision off the tie-up now, try to find it for a moment. This bounces off of one of the backline skates from Muskegon, but that's where Waterford is. And get the still as Josh Hill calmly play this back to Theo Goody. Theo will buy some extra time as we get a freshly Zamboni'd ice. 30 seconds have expired in this middle frame. John, they're with you from the Red Rink from the Go Live Sportscast. This was Hill just off sides. He has done a phenomenal job, number 15 tonight, I can say, throughout the forecheck, trying to get these steals and create some chances. The Sharks have had a lot of pressure throughout this game so far that they are trying to force against Muskegon. A little bit short-handed, as we talked about, for them on the other end, but still, you got to be able to make your own breaks and try to pressure Devin Lay, because again, he's been phenomenal throughout this contest. And that's not even for the most part. This scoreline would have been worse. Get another stoppage here. Sharks don't like it, but the whistles really haven't been called in this game all that much, but I think we're finally going to get one now as I say that. If it's against Muskegon, I'm looking over toward the left side of their bench. That's where Precision is with Luke McKinch. As far as their personnel and where they're going to have to stay on the ice. So Sharks are going to get the power play for their first time. And we'll see what they do with it. Theo Goody at the sauce pass. Whiteheimer scores! Theo Goody to Kieran Carlisle. That took all of 5 seconds. So I could see that perfectly from my sight lines. No chance, as that was blistered past Lay. Gigantic goal here for the Sharks. And man, oh man, in 5 seconds, you talk about how much that it matters. It's one face-off win. That might go right from center back to D to another forward there for your straight-up set of points for that third assist. And the Sharks have restored a 3-goal lead. That's the most that they've had. Didn't even have time to take the power play time off of it, but we are in even strength. Flip back now for Kuramachi. And that was a good feed as this is gaining across the red line. And Jacob Gilliam's got some run support. If he can get a big-time effort today and keep those goals against from 3 to 4, you would think he gives himself another chance. I don't think the Sharks will be done just yet. As this is picked up off the cross pass, backhand. Oh, good stop there for Lay near the right side post, and he had to have it. I know it's the second time I've said that from the first to second, but he's made some gigantic stops. As Polosha can be a soft play in the corner there. Healy really didn't have to brace for a hit. The Sharks do a pretty good job being able to hold him up and not get too many boarding calls. They're not always penalized alongside all the other teams in the MIHL. They're pretty smart about the way that they play. And between both of these guys, most of them usually play their regulars. It'll be Pfeiffer now with an inside-out move. As this will be picked up there for the Sharks. Brennan Sherwalk. And Lay will go ahead and stop it. I didn't get what the third assist was. We'll have to pick that up on the score sheet once this game's all done. But the most important part of it now is the Sharks have a 4-1 lead. That power play tally, as we said, at 19:09, took all of 5 seconds. Trying to see, I think Tyler Groff is back there in behind the bench and alongside with Not both the Redmonds because they're playing today, but usually Sherlock would wear that number if not for Groth. And that's what I see today. He played the one game when Frank had to cover it alongside with the Shadow when the Sharks played. Able to get a rare road stream for that, so I was able to cover and get a road story. But this would probably be the biggest result. I was shocked at that one, but take what you can get here through the traffic. This is saved off of lay with the stick. Some excellent work there. The Sharks have been winning a lot of battles as this is sent through the goal mouth, bouncing toward the left side of the slot. Turnaround chance and another deflected save there for Lay. He has been the only reason why this game is not worse. Another turnover here on the backhand drive to the net. And that one is brushed in the corner. Sharks have possession again. I promise you this is not a power play as this is flipped in. See what can happen. We get some contact near the right side corner. Spencer Bowman trying to emerge with it. He gets tied up a little bit. I'm sure Muskegon's going to want a call. They're not going to get one. Another wrister at the net. And Lay, second opportunity, can't hold. And this might give the Sharks some more possession. As I looking toward the right side again, a little bit away from my sight line, but try to follow that as much as we can at 16:45. Golov's going to pick up the rest for me as this goes in the left side boards. Sharks on the forehand finally turn it over, and a little late cross check on the end. Muskegon's going to like that. They think Waterford's probably taking a little bit too many exceptions, but I'm going to tell you honestly, the refs have let the game be controlled by the players here, and that is something to be said from the game a few nights ago at the Seattle Kraken and Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks. When he got hooked, that was called, and then the Kraken ended up winning the game a couple nights ago. We don't want to have that happen. There's Donaldson's chance. This one is a good steal for Theo Goody. Back to Donaldson here. As we're inside the first 4 minutes of the middle frame. Sharks lead by 3 again. It's 4-1. Fake the slapper, Cole Helgamo. As this one's punched from the right side, red line. Bracing against the board, Zach Milkowski try to find it there. This will be flipped toward Lay. And now Muskegon try to take this one right to left. They're going to do so quickly here. Dylan Smith, and off the rush, Dylan looks behind him. Little snow cone backhand, but he's got it at 15:40. Sharks get set for a D-zone draw. Haven't said that too many times. Zach Grover. Now we'll try to pick this one up. Long flip. Be recollected. Good stop and turn there for the Sharks for the moment. From Nick Redmond, but this will quickly go the other way. Theo Goody's got it on his blade. And a back check here. Sharks got to be alert. Redmond try to get it for a moment. And here escape is Chris Donaldson. On his backhand, Donaldson shoveled at the net. That was stopped by Lay. He was in the butterfly near the right post, holding onto that stick tight. Donaldson, center of the net, it's deflected. And Muskegon just gets it out. Sharks force a steal! And this is taken away from Max Campbell. Back and behind the net combination play. Sharks looking very good in this second as they scored the opening goal of the frame. Goody, this was fought up the net. That was saved by Lay, but the rebound control hasn't been top-notch, and they score! They can't hold on to the rebound as Lay, and the Sharks score again at 14:43. Everybody pumped over there, feeling very good about themselves. It's 5-1. That is a rebound that Lay's got to have, and when you don't get those, it gives the Sharks another opportunity. Again, that's a mistake on his end. It's tough for me to say that there for any Muskegon fans that are watching, but Gilliam had one on the other end that Will Healy was able to score on.
Josh Hill, assisted by number 76, Mike Redmond. Number 6, Theo Goody.
So Nick Redmond and Theo Goody get the assist on Josh Hill's goal. Again, Josh, I always appreciate liking those posts. You're going to like that goal that scored here for the Sharks. It's now a 5-1 lead. A lot of extra effort there. Sharks have already scored 2 in this frame. They are up now by 4. Here is a cross, and it's bounced. Did it go in? Muskegon wants a call here, but they're not going to get one, and the Sharks have scored at 14-22. I think it might have been some friendly fire off the Voyagers. So Sharks have a 6-1 lead. They've scored 3 times in both periods. Carlisle trying to get another one. He scores! What a snipe! Kieran Carlisle! And we're off to the races! So Kieran Carlisle, that previous announcement is gone, so I do not have that for the 6th goal. Theo Goody gets the assist on the 5th one, but this one, Kieran Carlisle able to toe drag, walk in, snipe pass, lay, and the Muskegon Voyagers cannot stop the bleeding here. It's 7-1, and it's at one point when you look at it, you might be surprised, but with some of the guys that are out, I get it, but at the same time, the Sharks aren't going to have any sympathy for where this is, because they want to give it to the Muskegon Voyagers as good as they get. If they can't make the trip over with everybody else, that's just the way it goes. So they look to be on their way for avenging an opening season loss. Again, still tons of time in this game, but just not accustomed to seeing the Muskegon Voyagers be up against it with this type of score line. But the Sharks have played some ridiculously good hockey since I've been watching that over. There was an opportunity after that opening loss to Muskegon. I'm not going to say where things could snowball, but they get the win against the Shadow. This goes up into the netting on a play. But 7-1 the score line, and they're just continuing to press. And to be first place heading into the Thanksgiving break would mean a lot, because they still got a pretty difficult back-to-back on a Friday, Saturday coming into the following week. Again, that would be December 5th and 6th at 7:30 Friday, 6:30 Saturday against the Shadow and the Warhawks. So still a lot to do here on this homestand, but they can pick up the first set of 6 points, maybe at least go 4-1. That would be successful, if not 5-0. Milkowski on his forehand. Here's a cross pass. This gets deflected there for a moment, and it'll be a spin and turn here for Jake Nana. Jake on his backhand. See what they can do here for Zach Grover, but he's got to hunt the puck by himself. Got Redmond in his grill. Picked up here for Micah. This will be slap shot back down the end boards here by Luke McKinch. Sharks try to clear it. They are going to get a bouncing puck from Micah's pass. Doesn't go to anybody as he has to take a hit. And now recollected across the left side. That is where Grover is. Gilliam hasn't had a lot to do here in this second. I don't see a hand in the air, and one of the Voyagers doesn't have a lid. Have to find a way probably back to the bench. And opportunity now for Milkowski. Milkowski tried to send it in deep, and this one will bounce right in toward the left side red line. Sharks settle it back down. Here for Cole Hogemo. Hogemo will watch this one go down deep. That's where Dylan Smith is, but he can't get the retrieval. Outstretched pass. Sharks are onside. This is Cole Hogemo now. As try to slowly, this one gets centered out in front. Sharks D line is on the back change. So Chris Donaldson able to get that early and send it in, but it's offside against Waterford. And a little bit of a how do you do for Josh Hill to the Voyagers here. Is getting a little too handsy. Cross check might be the call, and Muskegon is going to get a power play out of this. I think a little retaliation for the Sharks. Got a little bit too handsy, as I just mentioned, and they're going to pay for it here. So Muskegon, I'm going to just say this is playing his day. This is a must score on the power play. They've got to be able to find something here, because they're going to run out of chances, even with 11:44 in the second. See what happens now for the turquoise, white, and black as this one goes up and out of play. Bounced in off the netting off of a hand there. Tried to get closed down by Luke McKinch. Didn't really have to jump to make that reach, but since it bounced in the netting, will stay right here. Andrew Taylor. Little forehand win for the Sharks. Start with the possession. This will be flipped back down. So Josh Hill, he's got a goal, but he's also got a cross-check and penalty. And the Sharks need to kill it, and Muskegon really has to score it. Opportunity now up the ice for Muskegon with the man advantage. Rister, this closed up the 5-hole at the net. And Muskegon going to find a goal here. I don't think Gilliam had that good rebound control, but it'll work out. 7-2, they get a power play marker at 11:15. So they took advantage of what they had to, but now you got to just chip away if you're the Voyagers here. Waterford has still really come out and punched them right in the mouth, and then it stayed the way it was from the first. So assist for Taylor and Cispaniak on that goal. As this is on the right side boards. So Sharks have conceded on the power play from the Josh Hill cross check. And you want to just try to keep that right where it is. Sharks still up by 5. That's a great skate. Redman trying to make it happen. He gets taken down. That was a pretty good work there for Michael. And off the leave there, Bowmans will make a pass. This will be sent in here for Cherwalk. Takes a fortuitous bounce for the Sharks, and that will force Lay to have to hold. We're almost halfway through regulation here. Sharks lead is 7-2. This will be a D-zone win for Muskegon. That's not a good steal there, and the Sharks will get some possession. As this is recollected off the backhand. Sharks fighting for it. Toward the right side, Campbell takes a hit, stays up on his feet, as it's getting very busy behind Lay's office. And off the left, Sharks steal right at center ice. Campbell try to hunt this with Josh Hill. Again, Hills has already scored. As I said, now he takes a tumble into the right side, and he lost his stick there for a moment. Play goes the other way. This is an excellent move. Oh, and hits the glass. That was Zach Grover. That would have been spectacular. Hill back into the play now as he gets onside rush the other way. Back in. Oh, what a goal! End to end. Muskegon doesn't finish on one, and the Sharks do the other way. I think Kieran Carlisle with a little bit of silky mitts, if not for Christopher Martin. I don't know if that was 18 or 16 at 9:30, but the Sharks will take it. Little end-to-end action. Grover does not convert on one end. Sharks do. It's now 8-2. This has been a bonanza of goals, a little Donkey Kong bonanza here, but we will continue with it. And no, I do not have a switch too. So Michael Redman, going to go ahead and get a piece of it here, or Nick Redman, as this will be put into the corner. So Nick Redman has a couple in this game, as this will be picked up nicely off the glass. And then the Voyagers try to go ahead and get a steal here. A little outlet pass, little bounce. And the Sharks will have to watch this one get sent in. Zach Malkowski, little inside out positioning, takes a hit. Gilliam will solve it into the corner. Sharks are in good standing right now in this game. And again, you think if they can get one more, considering where the Muskegon Voyagers are for who they don't have they could put this game completely out of reach, even for a team like Muskegon. But you just don't want to make any careless mistakes. This will not be a penalty as it goes into the players' benches, but we will get a stoppage at 8:33. It's going to stay right here in the Sharks' end as there was a little bit of a failed clear that went into Muskegon's bench. Andrew Taylor wins the draw, but this will be played in off the inboards by Baldrika. Polsha now try to give it a look. He does get the steal for a moment. Here's a bouncing puck. As Kieran Carlisle got knocked down, and this will work on the back skate and behind the Devin Lay's net. Big contact and near the right side boards. Sharks do steal. It's Baldrika. He's patient, and that was saved by Lay. Again, I don't really think he's done anything wrong, maybe with the exception of a couple goals that were against him with some rebound control that hasn't been all that great. But other than that, the Sharks have had the consistent amount of pressure and has forced Muskegon to have to concede and play more in their own end than they're used to. As this is toward the left side red line now. Spin and turn. Lay got a piece of it. A little nonchalant there as this is going to just kill some time on the left side red line. Looking for a breakout pass. And this will hit the stick of Gilliam, so that's going to wave off the icing. Little hand grenade pass. Sharks curling style. We'll watch this one get sent in from Muskegon. We'll have to start this again from left to right. Again, the Sharks in the home black in the mix of the orange and white striping. You have the turquoise blue with the black pants and the black striping with the white as well on the sock part of the pant legs. It's an 8-2 lead for Waterford Sharks in a battle for first place in the MIHL South. So it will not matter what the Michigan Shadow do today as far as their standings if this holds. Baldrika, that was just wide of the top post. Here's another shot. This one's solved by Lay, but again, it's poked out loose, and then the clearing attempt hits the ceiling, so that will stay right where we are in the offensive end for Waterford. I can't remember the last time when Go Live was with me last year. I had to make the trip alongside Mama Shark, and we were giving you that broadcast. I don't think I mentioned that Devin Lay even gave up any rebounds. I mean, he was zip and tuck, and I know they had all their top-end guys, but everything was clean back in behind that net. And I know there's a couple, as you might get some pushing and shoving toward the right side of the glass. Players are tied up. They look like they want to go, and are we going to get anything? As Joel Skolin had his gloves off. He was tied up there with Dylan Smith. We're just going to get some offsetting roughing, I would have to imagine. I kept looking on the right side of the dot to see whether or not they let the guys throw, but I think we're just going to say no here and get some more offsetting. Maybe one of those instances where the Sharks are trying to send a message here. And as I said, I'm going to be plain as day as your broadcaster. It doesn't matter who makes the trip or not. You look at Tyler Groth, you change some things in behind the bench. Maybe Matt Berger comes back later. And you say, you know what? We want to send a message here. It's time for us to take control heading into the Thanksgiving break and feel good. Right now, I only see one penalty, and that might be instigating by Skolin. Again, he got one a couple of games ago after that giant hit that we had against the Sheboygan Wendigo and a 20-0 win for them. He had 9 penalty minutes on the play. So this will be another power play. Muskegon scored 1 in this period, so Skolin's going to get busted. And now the Sharks try to make sure they don't concede. This will be flipped back down as the unsportsmanlike's called against the Sharks. Dylan Smith, that's where he is. Again, this is another must score. But last time I mentioned that, the Muskegon Voyagers weren't down by 5. Picked up and off the back pass. It's Luke McKinch. Try to do it all himself here. Spin and turn. And off the lead, Grover will try to spin this off the backboards back to McKinch. And the Sharks have a little bit of pressure here. Polosha on his backhand. Oh! He tries to go lift as this one saved right at the crease by Lay, and a little bit of a late push there. Polosha really looked good. He couldn't get the finish there, but I don't blame him because we saw Mikko Rantanen do that the other day for the Dallas Stars. You get those kind of goals, that's how you can move up in the league and get paid the big bucks. 5:54 left to go in the middle frame. Backhand Jared Siegel, first time I get to call his name throughout this game in a start. As Cole Helgamo out there with the captaincy and Spencer Bowman. Again, no Grego, he had the game in alongside M1 United. And they were playing the Clarkston Wolves the other day. This is off the drop, that's where Healy is. With the cross pass, here comes the Ripper. That was saved by Gillian with the right pad. He flipped off the glass but not out. Muskegon retained possession of vulcanized rubber. Another slapper just off the stick blade of Gilliam and out of play. Just gets a piece of it. Says Paniak. Let that one go. Time starting to count down against the Muskegon Voyagers, but they still have 35 seconds left in the man advantage of the Skolin unsportsmanlike. This not kept in the zone, and Sharks do get the clear. Healy spent a lot of time back in his defensive end again, and technically a forward, usually 4 forwards, 1D, but since they don't have pitcher in this game, you'd have to think that's where he's going to have to spend the majority of his time since the Sharks have been playing in their end. There's a back pass. And Redmond will flip this one back down the ice. Sharks, watch this one go down to 0. Stolen will return from the sin bin. Good pickup there. And alongside for Mike. As this will be flipped in. And off the leave there for the moment. Sharks force a steal. As this will be centered back down the ice. Paniak lost it. About 4:20 left to go in this middle frame. As this will be flipped back down and blown dead against the Sharks, but I kind of wonder who's got enough gasoline left in the tank. Looks like the Voyagers were stuck on the end of a long shift as well. They can take a change. I think the Sharks probably will be okay here if they can clear this one down the ice. This is off the face-off win here for the Voyagers. Try to take this one D to D. And that could be a potential break, if not for a stick in the lane. That was excellent work for rescission because he stopped the potential goal. Sharks do get possession of the puck here. Josh Hill goes between his legs. And now Muskegon's going to start with the puck as this one gets deflected. Sharks look to break out. Max Campbell pushing in the corner himself, try to hunt his own rebound. It's a good pin to the right side of the glass. Sharks get an A+ there in this portion of the game as they've been able to force Muskegon into some mistakes and play some physical play as well. And the refs are not calling much. Another finish, and now we do get a hand in the air. As I'm trying to get a number on that, if that was 16, yeah, that's Andrew Taylor. And off that, I'm looking for that A. Sharks are going to go ahead and take one as well. I look like on the ref side it might have a little bit of offsetting, maybe not, but we're going to go back into the Sharks' end because they're starting to really buzz at each other right now. 2 penalties against the Sharks here. So I think the one in toward the left side red line and the one right near the Voyagers bench were both called for PIMs. I mean, this is a door wide open here. I know what the score line says. You can all see it. But this is at least got to be 1 if you're Muskegon. Little stand-up time for some of the Sharks fans as well. Don't blame them here. This would be a giant kill, and that is how you have to start it, but you can't do that anymore. So Max Campbell, Josh Hill. Josh Hill's got 1 goal in this period, but he's got 2 penalties. And now Campbell as well, but something's definitely being said on the ice. You just don't want to have too much pushback to wake up on the other end. Polsho, see if he can be smart here, not just take his chance, but kill some time. Hell, he might score as he just missed that left side of the post. That's unbelievable there on a 5-on-3. As this will be flipped back down here for the Sharks. 3 minutes left to go. A full sail clear with a 2-man disadvantage as this will go to lay. Andrew Polsha, he would have brought the house down here for Waterford. 2:45 left in this middle frame, but big opportunity for the Voyagers to at least get within one more. If Sharks kill this, you got to think they could take it all the way home, and it's just a monumental lift that you would have even going to the fresh sheet of ice. Chance toward the left side now. Dylan Smith will take this one D-to-D. Cross ice pass and has to recollect off the chamber for Jake Nana. Cross ice feed, potentially toe drag shot, hits the glass. And Muskegon looking a little bit discombobulated again. They need to be more patient here and just find their lanes. They should have no mistake doing so. The slap pass as this gets sent back, a little overskate. Artem Levchinov did that the other day with the Blackhawks. They got blasted by the Buffalo Sabres. As this will be just missed there for a moment off the touch pass. Muskegon got to get some shots. This one flipped to the net. That was a little inauspicious. And that will get sent back down the ice. 10 seconds away here. I'm getting 2 men back in Hill and Campbell. This is unbelievable here for Waterford. Down to 5. Get the steal for a moment. And the Sharks are going to return to full strength. Have to deal with the puck in their own end for the moment. As this will be flipped back for Brendan Sherlock. Just keeps it in the zone. Sherlock, little gang tackle. Trying to get a little extra here. They're holding on to the stick. The refs are looking here. Brendan Sherlock says, hey, you're holding on to my stick. Muskegon saying, no, I'm getting punched on the other end from Sherlock as Chris Hawkins was down on the ice. So Sharks kill 2. They might be getting one more for Sherlock on Hawkins. Depending on what the refs want to call here, I'm assuming the puck is either going to go right back to neutral or right on the Sharks' end. So Sherlock going to sit in the box here. A little bit undisciplined for the Sharks. They did not concede on a 5-on-3, and they really can't here. And I know it sounds silly considering where the score line is, but you can only dodge so many bullets before you're playing Russian roulette, correct? So here we go. Kieran Carlisle, as this one gets flipped back down, that's where Will Healy is. So Sherlock can get bussed for roughing and a little bit of a misconduct as well. They said 10 minutes on that side, so he will be down a forward, will Tyler Groth's squad. There's going to be a lot for me to sort out. Again, I'm not going to have all the names officially in the Facebook post, but there's been a lot of penalties for Waterford, but they haven't conceded. As Polsha try to hunt. Again, this will be carryover power play time that the Voyagers can take into the third. If they don't score now, they really have to have. There's another hit. Carlisle will finish it off against Jake Nana as this gets sent back down. But I wonder how Terry is calling this the other way for Muskegon, because you're just not accustomed, regardless of who's out there, for Muskegon fumbling so many passes and just not being able to run their offense. As Bowman now finishes his hit. 20.5 left to go in the second, and the one thing for me is I'm just getting a little nervous that the Sharks are going to take too many. Again, we're going to get a center ice draw. They're just kind of walking this player tightrope, even with the score line the way it is. Be flipped back down by Donaldson as it sits at 10. Healy. Watch this one go D-to-D. Down to 4. Muskegon's got to shoot quickly if they can get one off. They can't do so. And let's see if we get anything after the whistle as Goody was taken down, or if we're just going to go right to the dressing room here. I'm just going to stick with you for a few more seconds to keep my eyes open as everyone's now finding their way to the door. So Sharks, it was 3-1 after 1. It's now 8-2. They get 36 seconds more of PK time but I think the oven is way past preheat at this point, even where the score line is. I see some fist bumps on the other end for Muskegon. We'll see what we get in the last set of 20. I think that might be all we need, but we'll come back and call more. See you in a bit. MIHL hockey shift. That's what I'm looking at right now. As far as the penalty summary, so Brennan Sherwalk, part of that misconduct, roughing minor unsportsmanlike. So the first one, the roughing minor, served by Joe Skolin, and then Sherwalk's done for 10 minutes. Hill, Campbell, Skolin, Hill, Smith, Healy, Baldrika, and Redmond with the penalties. And then starting with Smith in the second, that's all the way from Smith, Hill, Skolin, Campbell, Hill, Sherwalk from that second. So there was a lot to do. We have about 30 more seconds of power play time carryover for the Voyagers in this third. And then I'll see really quickly if I can get you some scoring updates across the MIHL as well. So as the players will make their way onto the ice, I'm going to go ahead and just look across this MIHL scoreboard. See if we can get anything else going here for today. So again, I see scoreless in between. There's nothing else to update for you. I apologize. As far as the MIHL, I was looking across. Really, the only one now is the Sharks and the Voyagers, which we're covering. That has updated on the site. Again, I can tell you one thing. The Red Wings were able to get a 4-3 victory in overtime against the Columbus Blue Jackets. That was a 3-1 deficit for the Red Wings. Then they were able to get 2 points. Again, they're sitting at first in the Atlantic. Talked about it last time out that the Montreal Canadiens now find themselves out of a playoff spot, but once the Red Wings get back in action a little bit later this week again, you have 2 games, a home and home on both sides against the Boston Bruins that are going to end up playing dividends. So let's get started in this third. We'll see if I can update you a little bit more if we get a stoppage a little bit later. It's picked up now at the forehand. Kuramachi going to work his way to the net. That was fought up by Gilliam, but are we getting a whistle here against the Sharks? Is the question. Or was it have to be dug out of the net? I thought Gilliam made that save. 8-2 is what I see right now. Hooking is the call, so that's what it is. So Sharks are going to have to take another one here. This time they're going to be a 5-on-3 disadvantage again. Kuramachi had a break. So 5-on-3 again, this time very abbreviated. And this is not kept out. So Theo Goody for a hook. As this would be a spin and turn now for Jake Nana. Little long ice feed, and that's again not collected cleanly for McKinch. Down toward the right side dot. Toward the back door, that's where Gilliam is, and he was able to leapfrog on the puck. So 1 second left on the first part of the disadvantage. I think that's the one that Skolin is in the box for again to serve that I see the number on. Goody's still in the box for 139. Again, there won't be enough time for them to get both of this carryover because as soon as this face-off's done, one of the Sharks could probably cheat for offense here, but they're just going to go ahead and change the recipients on the ice, and here we go. Andrew Polosha off the fresh sheet of ice. Polosha on the back pass. Bring it for Redmond off the drop. And this will be flipped back. Donaldson hustles for it and is able to steal, but now Muskegon finds the entry. Here's a feed that gets sticked away from Kuramachi. Now Polosha, number 61, already done some damage in this game. Again, Kieran Carlisle had the hat so far. He tried to make a combination play for Redmond. And this will be flipped back. Picked in toward the left side of the glass. And the Sharks can go ahead and start this one again. Michael Redmond able to flip this one down the ice, and the refs say no icing there again because that's the penalty for 40 more seconds. Sharks have had to do that a lot. They've had 5 straight disadvantages here, but they haven't really conceded all that much. Again, just the one that I was able to throw across for, I think it was McKinch that I had in there as far as my notes. Again, I'll go ahead and send that in toward the game story. Probably get to look at that tomorrow but just not much for the Voyagers to do in this game considering who's been out. But again, as we talk about from the part of the second mission going to the third, when you have a 5-on-3 and you're not generating, it just is never what I've seen from the Voyagers here, and you got to say it that way. 20 seconds left to go here in the power play. A little bit of an overskate again. And man, oh man, what a difference Raleigh pitcher makes. Is this one will be recollected now for Muskegon. See if they can finally get something on net as Gilliam brushed it toward the right side of the corner. Rolling puck, flips that one down the ice, and the Sharks killed it again. Now see if they can just play clean here. Again, they don't have to at this point. They really not necessarily have over the last 6 minutes of that second. And off the step up, Sharks do force a steal and brush it in the corner. Healing off the spin and turn. I kind of actually wonder if that is Gavin Cunningham now, considering how much defense has had to have been played. And again, my apologies to any Muskegon fans, but that's what I saw on the MIHL score sheet. Here's a wrister toward the back post. A good save by Lay as that was sticked out of the air. Back to Gilliam. Good stick ahead. And that is where Michael is. Michael Redmond now. Oh, he's got that jersey tuck. Here's a nice move. Go toward the backdoor pass. And that is between the legs of Lay, but that one is in the back of the net. He was able to slide it through. Redmond set that play up. I had to look for it for a second to make sure that it went in, but it is 9-2. So credit there to Michael Redmond. You could say the same thing when they covered the game away for the Michigan Shadow. You had Redmond and Papandrea, but now Redmond really on the ice with both the brothers, and they just continue to do damage this year in their limited appearances. That's no surprise, but you let them skate in and make something happen, and that's just how it ends up working. I think both the Redmond brothers combined. So I had the clarification from Nick Parrott, the GM side for the Sharks, that 29 was Mikey today, but then they also mentioned Tyler Groth. So we'll see what we got there, but I'm just going to go across the scoreline sheet. I didn't think Tyler was playing today, and it's not me to jump all over myself. I think the Sharks have just jumbled the lines up a little bit, and there's a lot of Muskegon guys that are missing. Is picked up on the back pass now. Muskegon will watch this one go down the ice, and the hybrid's going to be waved off as Pfeiffer will get there first. And on the backhand. Sharks do turn it over here, but Cole Halgamo, no matter. Got to get this one down the ice. A little bit too far ahead for Zach Mulkowski. But they're not really accustomed to seeing Muskegon down by 7 goals as Zach ends entry up the long shot. Another rebound there, not really handled all that well, but it couldn't find Cole Halgamo. There's Brennan Pfeiffer. Take this one D to D. Look up ahead for Jared Siegel. He'll make a back pass for Max Campbell. Campbell now pushing into the corner. Back in behind the net of Devin Lay. He's been responsible for all 9 against. Usually don't see him give up that many. But Muskegon's not been able to really manufacture an attack today. And first place is going to go the way of the Waterford Sharks unless there is a monumental Titanic collapse. This will be flipped back in off the inboards now and sent back in behind the net. About 5 minutes have expired from this third period. And chance in at the net, and this is held by Gilliam near the right post. Little snow angel as he finds the vulcanized rubber underneath him. So the Sharks will have a 3-game streak here if they score one more of double digits in every single game of the last set of 3. And then if you want to count 10-8 over to the Shadow, if that was extra carry, it would be 4 straight. Gilliam now gets set back in his own crease. And this will be another power play opportunity here for Waterford. So it's not like Muskegon hasn't had their chances. This is their 5th straight opportunity with the man advantage, and I kind of want wonder what Terry's talking about on the other side up there in Muskegon about some sort of game plans here in attack. So Brennan Pfeiffer going to take a hooking penalty as the screen goes harmlessly wide into the right side red line. Muskegon can't hold it in, and that has been the doldrum of the day for the Voyagers. There's a little bit of a hunt of the puck for Jarrett Pfeiffer. This will roll him behind. Jarrett's going to get the puck. Here's a short-handed opportunity for a one-timer, but that'll be miscollected. Start again now for Muskegon off of the drop in a slot. Good move, and this is picked up by the Sharks. They had a host there as they can go ahead and flip it in. Look for Theo Goody. Theo gets taken down, and I'd be surprised if that wasn't called against Muskegon there. They could have certainly made that offsetting for about a minute 5, but we will press on. Owen Drake and off the chance. This will be sent back down across center ice one more time. And Muskegon's off. They got to check back on sides and off the clip. This will be sent all the way down. Kieran Carlisle had a hat trick in that second period. Had 3 goals in 30 seconds. Kind of bum rushed the Voyagers a few times throughout this game. 2 3-goal spurts in a given period will do that. That's why the scoring line sits at 9-2. Polsha gets stick lifted at the last moment. And then the back pass there for Grover. Long chance, not held by Gilliam, but he doesn't have to pay for it. This is sent toward the left pad. Another one-timer. This one gets partially blocked now. One of the Sharks got to pick up some lumber. And now Muskegon finally gets a chance to throw some chances at the net. And the Sharks will wholesale clear it down the ice in time. Dylan Smith on his own end. I think a lot of the guys for Zach Dance's squad have had to shuffle between forward and defense. More of a skeleton crew than anything else. It feels like they've been staying up all night in the emergency room and then having to play a game, but sometimes that's the way it is. We've seen teams shorthanded before. Cole Hogemo half pirouette. And offsides is the call against Milkowski. Convincing, if not anything else, I think you would all agree. John Ott, I'm your play-by-play man here for the Go Live Sportscast. You can always reach me at John Ryan Ott. Always let me know your thoughts and concerns. This has colored me shocked a little bit from what we would see, but I did not see the bus out here from Muskegon when I was making that entry, as this is a chance in off the rush. Little forehand save precision. Got a piece of it. It was loose on in front. Redmond trying to find it. And off the back pass. Good step on Milkowski. There it is. He lays his man up. Here's a chance in off the rush now. Saw by Gilliam. That was a thunderous hit. The Sharks bench loves it. And I'm sure Mama Milkowski does as well. As this will be sticked away by Cole Hogemo. Zach. See what happens here as this gets sticked away from Jake Nana. Back in behind the net. Cole picks it up on the backhand. He gets saved by Lay. It's still loose. That's where the Voyagers are. Across center ice, gain the red line, dump it in. There'll be some changes here for Zach Dance's squad. You're going to have to do so quickly. Had one on the forecheck that was stuck out there. Probably will take a change as well. Pass bounces harmlessly, but then sticked away. Brendan Pfeiffer, who's out of the box, coughs it up. He's got to go back and get it here. And Hawkins on the steal. See what he can do as this goes back around the other way. Sharks looking for a breakout pass. It's picked off again. And Redmond now. Started behind the net. Pass an open side left wing. That's where Josh Hill is. Here will be a spinning around the net for the Sharks. Here for Nick Redmond. A little bit too far, race for the puck here. Gonna run out of gas, not so much burners, as not much of a brace of a hit there. Sharks were smart, don't need to get a needless boarding penalty. As this one goes D to D, one-timer, goes right on the Sharks' blade. Looking off the long flip. Here for Nick Redmond. A couple of Sharks come together and alongside Max Campbell. Good lead for Josh Hill. Spin and try to pick it back up. Now to start again. About halfway through this third. 9-2 is your score line. And the Sharks look very comfortable in a game against Muskegon. Here's Hill. He goes for a side lift, looking for number 10, but that one hit the glass. Now Muskegon, again, Max Campbell right there to get the steal. Just not much hustle here from the Voyagers. They get a chance to press a couple times, and then they have to kind of turn off the burners and manage, maybe just because they're down so many reinforcements. Now Redmond finishes some hits. Theo Goody on his backhand now. Gets knocked away from his blade, and the Voyagers just try to shovel in the right side corner as Campbell finishes his hit. Sharks making no mistake about trying to wear down the Voyagers as much as they can with the physicality, and then still trying to push it right back down their throat as Donaldson almost find an entry by himself. Push the other way, bounces off the stick of the Voyagers. And that could have been icing against Taylor, but there was a thunderous crunch away from my sight line, but I know Go Live picked that one up. Precision now waiting on the back skate, still busy toward that right side red line. As the puck bounced off the zebra for a moment, Sharks flip, can't get it out. Again, bounce off the back skate of one of the Sharks and off the glass now. Polosha gets around a hit from Precision. This goes in and gets sent back in. About 9 minutes left to go in this third, and this is almost coastal territory for the Sharks, and that feels pretty good when you're playing against a team like Muskegon. Again, regardless of what was at stake today, as we said, first place in the NHL South, there is no doubt who the bigger team was today, as this is an awesome skate blades and up and on a play. It's not to say things won't be much different. Again, we'll get a couple more meetings here. We know one of the latest ones is at March 21st in the Red Ring side against the Voyagers. You think everybody will have all hands on deck for that. And then the Sharks will close their season 22nd on a birthday stream for me. We're going to try to get that squared away of whether or not I will join Frank or he's just going to go ahead and take the call, but I will be in attendance. There's a long wrister gets held there by Lay, but that is way in advance. But you would still think with the Voyagers, if this holds, with 2 losses on the year, 1 to the Sharks and 1 to the Shadow, that it would all come into play there again as another slapper. This one will be held from Lay by Helgamo, who's got that jersey tuck a la Ovechkin today. Sometimes you see him with it, sometimes you don't. And who's to say that Alex Ovechkin wouldn't stay long enough in the NHL to maybe get to goal 1,000? Is that out of the reach of anything? We'll see. Long flip. Here's a rolling vulcanized rubber that gets recollected here for Chris Martin. And Martin now try to leave it straight back. Picked up off the backhand, off the lift. A couple of stick chops knock it away. Muskegon's got numbers. Walk in, miss the net. Gilliam down, but the Sharks do have possession. Probably bail him out there. Here's a pass across from Martin. Sauce feed. Helgamo scores! That's number 10. So 2:15 and 18. I think I got that one straight right there from Helgamo, Hill, and Martin. Right in off the rush. 10-2 Sharks lead. Double digits again for the Waterford Sharks. And I'm surprised they wouldn't play that again. But Zach is not here to play some of those other drops that they would use. That one hits the ceiling. And we'll have to stay right here in the neutral zone. But you got to feel pretty good if you're Waterford because you know what you have heading into Thanksgiving break. Again, you know, these guys have the day jobs that we talk about after all of this, just like me and everyone else here, as we're happy enough to bring you some Sharks hockey throughout the regular season. But you don't want to rest on your laurels here because when you got the Shadow and the Warhawks in the week right after is we get a little cross-checking the other way. Chris Hawkins trying to get all tied up there with Spencer Bowman, but now Bowman gets the steal. Bowman walks and shoots. He was looking towards Lay's dome on that back pass now. Pfeiffer, Redmond, Stays in a play as this one will bounce it off a knee. Sharks get this one D-to-D. Redmond wants it. He's the recipient of it now. Try to feed it right in the middle of a slot. And this will be on the back skate. No problem here for the Sharks. Feels really good to look at that scoreline. I can't lie. If you're a fan of the Waterford Sharks, knowing what's going to be ahead of you. But if you finish off the rest of the road stand, like I said, of 5 straight, at least go 4-1, you've done your business. You know, the Shadow are going to be hungry on that next Friday. I'm very interested to look at them for the first time on home ice. Redmond gets away from a hit as this goes back now for Jarrett Pfeiffer. Across center ice, Jarrett's got it on his stick blade. Good bank pass for Cherwalk, who just served as 10-minute misconduct. Cherwalk will throw this one ahead for Jarrett. Jason in the left side corner now off the spin and lead, but this one gets picked back up now. Muskegon, we'll see if they can get a couple more, but it really doesn't look it that way. There haven't been too many dangerous calls for me to have to mention throughout this game. And the voice register, except for the Sharks at some point, can stay pretty regular. Chris Donaldson. This one gets flipped in, and that'll be a hybrid ice. It'll easily be 1 for Luke McKinch. So next week into this Thanksgiving break, I'm going to try to look at the streams as far as maybe Monday, Tuesday, for sure, before I make the trek over to see the family on Thursday and spend some time there. And then we will talk about, I'll post on social media, John Raynaud, of whether there'll be some extra news and some work for me to carry over. Kieran Carlisle. Stick handle, one-time good save for Lay. That was one of his best, I thought, near the right side. At least I heard it bounce the pads. So we'll stay right here. Yeah, he's got it in the webbing of the catching glove. But I'm going to see if there's not going to be some extra work, because when I reached out with Nick, I'm not going to give everything away here, but some of those other storylines might also extend away just from the Sharks. Not staying away from the primary duty of the Sharks, because this is my family and I want to be here, but you might see a little bit extra on the website, which would be cool to see too. Picked up now on the forehand. And this will be left on the opposite end of the glass. Theo Goody on his back skate. As the Sharks have never stopped working throughout this regular season, I've been able to say that. Pass gets threaded, and Theo Goody punching the corner here for Polosha. Again, Polosha here in Carlisle, all the heavy damage. You've seen some enough from Goody today. Josh Hill gets on the scoreboard. Carlisle. Goody now chasing the corner. Finishes hit nicely as we're down to the final 5 of this third. Sharks just continue to do damage against every team in the league, and this looks like a good avenging of a loss. It was 5-2 at Lakeshore Sports Center. Near the back post and in. Sharks score again. It's Kieran Carlisle. That's his 4th straight. Again, it was intercepted by a couple of chances from the Sharks from before, but he's got 4 in this already from the second, third. All Sharks all the time right now. And again, you saw Nick Papandrea play in that game against the Shadow. The coach Teller Grock did as well, as we get a stick taken out of the hand of one of the Voyagers. This will be bounced in toward the right side of the blue line and sent in. 11-2 is your score line. And this against Muskegon. Another Lumber's got to get picked up here. Be a chance in at the net will be stick to side. Forward overhead Devin Lay, but you're not really used to seeing Devin Lay go up 11 goals either. But that rebound control was something left to be desired, as well as some of the guys that were not back there on defense. I get it, but when you have the 5-on-3, that's what I looked at when you couldn't generate. Stick drag, long shot, good save by Lay. And this will be just out. Christopher Martin. And off the sauce for Josh Hill. Picked up for a moment as this will get sent in by Dylan Smith. But I really isn't many things that I could pick out for Muskegon in this day that I would say I feel comfortable about for them. Shorthanded is one thing for sure for the players that are coming into the game, but there was just really no sense of attack. And I'm going to be honest here with you right now. I know it's not the full stretch of what we see as their players, as this one gets sent on the backhand, couple chances, and it's in the back of the net again. At 3:15, it is another goal for the Sharks. It's 12-2. Let me mark this down on the sheet. But that 11-8 game that we saw, what was it, a few weeks ago against the Detroit Warhawks? That was an incredible effort. I mean, the Sharks came back, right? They scored 4 goals in that third period to try to put it away. And you had Jake Tomlak's squad come out with a heavy effort, really try to put the Sharks on their heels. That was the best looking team that I've seen so far this year. Yes, I know the Voyagers are shorthanded. We can't say it enough. But this has just been completely uncompetitive. And I know you give a lot of the Sharks credit there, though. So they gave it to Cherwalk and Bowman. Again, I'll get all the recipients for the online portion of the scoreboard. As a little bit of almost knee to knee. We'll see if that's going to create something. We get Chris Hawkins there. I know he's going to want to go, and Sherlock's going to want to go as well. And Chris Hawkins is going to want to just push a little bit. Probably should let these guys go considering where it is. And the gloves are off. But are we going to actually start throwing, or are we going to talk? Sherlock's already been in the gate for a misconduct. Spencer Bowman slapping his stick because he wants to ignite for the rest of the fans. Is Bowman getting the gate for the rest of the day anyway? We will have some housekeeping to do. I think Bowman might be donezo. He's sitting over by the fans with his gear off and toward the right side. He's going right to the family and getting some stick taps. He's sitting in there with the homies over there on the right-hand side for Spencer Bowman. So he's going to enjoy the rest of his day. The Muskegon fans that have made the trip are as stunned as I am. Again, I'm trying to be neutral as much for working on the Sharks as I do, as I usually like to do on these calls, but I can't say mouth agape for me for what was not there, but this has been a dismantling. And again, I can say it, the Warhawks have given the best effort against the Sharks on their home ice. I can't say the Shadow are going to look like this in a couple of Fridays from now, but here's 2 more penalties against the Sharks and 1 against the Voyagers. So there's been a lot of that in this game and this story as well. So they just said they probably had enough of Bowman, so he's going to have fun amongst the crowd. I've never seen that before, so you can mark that down. Cooper Hopkins, I know, is up in UCLA in the mix of California to watch the Huskies play. He will be in the booth on the football side. I'm hopeful next year at some point him and I can share a broadcast booth together with the Sharks or make the trip down to see the Flames at the Settle Dome before it closes. But again, it's one of the things I say, mark that down, and one of the things that you don't see all that often are things we've never seen before. That's a moniker we usually use together, and that's one I can say today for sure. Do you want to say the niceties for Jacob Gilliam as well, because it's been his best game? It's been the best game for the Sharks defense. But Devin Lay, you got to feel a little bit bad for him considering what he's had to face throughout this game. I would have to think that his save attempts are at least in the 60s in this game. Sometimes I think that numbers have a tendency to be inflated. I think we can be honest with ourselves. But he's had no shortage of work. Polosha gets to take this draw. Another power play opportunity. This will stay in play off the stick of Gilliam. And chance in at the net. It's getting a little crazy here. Players doing a barrel roll, a little Star Fox. As this goes toward the right side. Walk and attempt to shoot Kuramachi, hit the net. Voyagers fans want more power plays. I really don't think they're going to get them. The Sharks have been a little bit undisciplined today. I think even they can tell you that, but they're going to even tell me scoreboard. And that's the right answer for sure. Will be another D-zone draw this time at the left dot. Zach Grover going to get set to take it. I don't know if I wouldn't even see maybe some fists being thrown again in this final 2 minutes, as this will be solved by Gilliam. But you can tell me here, maybe not getting some sort of record for the amount of penalties that have been called, but there has been a lot to do, as this is just kept in by Joe DeFay. I haven't had a chance to call his number very often. Backdoor pass. Sharks clear it down the ice. I was gaping there, yawning for the Voyagers to want to put it in, but they couldn't. And we get sent down the ice. Start again now for Kuramachi. Fight through some contact beautifully, but the Sharks are there to intercept. Cole Halgamo can take this one D to D. And one more time, the Sharks take care of their business. Devin Leah has been on the hook for all of these goals against. We are down unbelievably. This game's flown by considering the amount of goals just because of what we've seen today in the final 90 seconds. This is out the outside of the cage, and the puck is down to a knee, and that's going to blow the play dead. It couldn't be moved. So let me just give you the reset as far as what's upcoming. Next week we are off for Thanksgiving break, but we will be back Friday, December 5th against the Michigan Shadow in the Red Rink at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and then Saturday is the next part of the back-to-back against the Detroit Warhawks. Very interested to get a second look at them, considering they gave the Sharks their best effort in 11-8 loss. That game will be at 6:30 Eastern on Saturday. So a 7:30 Friday after the break. Here is a backhand opportunity, and maybe a little bit extra after that for the Sharks. See if we're going to get some calls here. But again, after the break, Friday, December 5th at 7:30 against the Shadow. Saturday, December 6th, Detroit Warhawks at 6:30. So 7:30 and 6:30 starts next Friday, next Saturday, December 5th, December 6th after the break. That's where we will be. I think the Sharks were having some fun there. Maybe a power play was called for their end. But I think we're at a point, ladies and gentlemen, where we just want to get the heck out of here before anybody gets hurt. I don't want to say that as someone saying, hey, you can sound soft, but I'm just being honest here. Here's a penalty shot. So Sharks, Redmond. Was that off the post? I believe it was off the left side of the post and got away from the goal line, as Lay's going to get a pat across the head. So not converted, doesn't matter though, at 1:12 of the third. So penalty shot, no penalty, but not converted, but the Sharks up by 10. Dylan Smith went off the feed, that one a little bit too long as it goes in the right side corner. Any Sharks fans who are in attendance today saw a buzzsaw for the Sharks. This one hits the glass. Redmond gets a retrieval, try to center it out in front. As this will be picked up off the forehand now. Spin and turn, excellent work. Sharks can kill some more time. Everybody returns to full strength now. Punching off the glass, there is another steal. The Sharks, again, they will get the A+ from me for that. Been able to hunt the biscuit all the way through and create opportunities for themselves and play on the forefront. Here's a feed that bounces up into the air. 20 seconds mercifully left to go in the game, and I've never said that when watching a game against the Muskegon Voyagers. It's always the first thing that you want to watch, but This did not look competitive whatsoever. And even if you're Muskegon short A, you want to take a look in the mirror. 2-on-1 maybe to end it. Insult to injury, backhand. Missed it all. But that is it, and that is all. 12-2 domination for the Waterford Sharks. They improved to 5-1 on the year. The Muskegon Voyagers fall to 5-2. So in a Thanksgiving break, they take first place in the MIHL South, while the Kalkaska Kings probably will hold on to that when it's all said and done, when they get going a little later tonight in the North. But man, oh man, this was fun to watch, one-sided. If you're a fan of the Sharks, you got everything you could ask for. 12-2 your final. Again, coming back from break, December 5th and 6th will be on the air Friday, Saturday. Against the Shadow at 7:30, against the Warhawks at 6:30. John Ott signing off for the Go Live Sportscast. Sharks win big, double digits again, 12-2 over Muskegon. It's a domination.